What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Well, welcome back to me in Believelandia. I am Jim Myers once again. Well, not once again. I've always been Jim Myers, but I guess uh, just welcome back. I know it's been a bit. Uh, just kind of, I don't know. It's been hard to keep up lately in the world of Believelandia, I guess. Been quite a few days. I'm not even talking about bas- March March mundaneness. I'm probably in the minority, but yeah, I haven't fully got into college basketball this season. Wow. But no, it's been very hard to keep up with the Browns and geez. Uh you have the Guardians underway, which as of well, are they done? Let's check. Speaking of the Guardians, they were losing 7-0. And well, as of this recording, they were down 7-0. Check. Check. Checking. Where did they go? Goodness. Well, they lost, of course. Yeah, they lost 7-0. They've been outscored 14-2 against the Padres between their game last night and tonight. Wow. Well, I had a whole thing for Kyle Manzardo, the legend of Manzardo. We'll get into it though, but 2-3 start off the first 5 games of this season. But we have to start with Jimmy Haslam today. Today or yesterday. Talking about uh, taking the blame, essentially, for the whole Deshaun Watson mess. And let's get into it. Let's just dive right into it. I don't want to make this thing as long as it's gonna be. There's a lot to get into. But yeah, the Browns, the owners meetings are this week in Florida, Miami, I believe. And Andrew Barry's had his press conference. Stefanski has talked with the media or the local media. I don't know how it goes. They have these weird luncheons with like their own local media, but they don't regularly do that. Like on the regular with when like they're actually in Berea or anything. Anyway, but it was Jimmy Haslam's turn yesterday. I don't know, or unless it was an exclusive sit down with Mary Kay Cabot of the Plain Dealer or Cleveland.com, as people are now calling it. But just gonna read the quote, and then I'll get there. Quote: "We took a big swing and miss with Deshaun. We thought we had the quarterback. We didn't, and we gave up a lot of draft picks to get him. So we've got to dig ourselves out of that hole. It was an entire organization decision, and it ends with D&I, so hold us accountable." You know, I respect, especially a billionaire like Jimmy Haslam, to actually take the blame. And I you know that there's something more behind it than just, my bad, everybody. I think it takes a lot of heat off of Andrew Barry and Kevin Stefanski, because, and yours truly has said this, that this next season is a wash. People can pretend that, we're just a quarterback away. Please see, a lot of people, well, approximately 30 people have, viewed my roster breakdown. So, no subscribers, but, there you go. Subscribe. Like and subscribe. Where was I? Yeah, here's me getting off track again. There's some underlying reason, and other than the fact that they're trying to, because they're going to take a major PR hit because of the Watson fumble. And people are having a hard time realizing that, okay, Watson was a fail, but we're still going to be able to compete for the playoffs, right? No, everybody. No. I'm here to bring sanity to at least a fraction of Browns fans. So please like and subscribe. But there's hope. I'm a Browns fan, so there's always hope. But and there is. They can dig themselves out of this hole. It's just not going to happen in a year. You can you can do this on your own. You can go to whatever mock draft simulator that you want. And yeah, your picks might be way out there or whatever, and you'll have trade down scenarios just like Andrew Barry will. And you'll be able to accumulate picks, even more than the 11 that you have. And yeah, you're not going to get high, 2 or 3 high first rounders or second rounders. You might be able to get 2 second rounders, but yeah, there's an underlying thing, and I think and it's smart from Jimmy Haslam to take that heat. I mean, the guy's a billionaire, so like, yeah, you can shit on him all you want, and he's not firing himself, people. But to come out and say that it was a big mistake, and this is where the divide starts to happen, because people, like, on one end, you can you can you could I understand the let's take Deshaun Watson out of it for a second. Like Deshaun Watson the person, and just take what he was as a quarterback in Houston, and like separate the piece of shit human being and the core, and take the phenom Houston Texans quarterback that won a national championship at Clemson. Okay? Let's just say, you know, let's just pretend for a second that it's not Watson. Just take the quarterback in his resume of the Browns and Haslam are desperate for a QB. We all are. And I know this is, the stadium thing has a big part in it. And he knew what they were going to get into a couple years ago, probably when they searched through this Deshaun Watson stuff, right? And he was, well, yeah, at the time it seemed like, I mean, you can bitch about the Browns all you want about it, but everybody acts like the Browns were the only team. When, if you remember, it was the Panthers, it was the Falcons. Deshaun Watson was going to go to the Falcons before, Haslam stepped in and guaranteed a stupid amount of money. So, they were competing against other teams, and, when everybody else is, trying to do the same thing, but the Browns come out the winner, and, well, were they the winner? But again, get back on track, Jim. To come out and say that it falls on us, it falls on the ownership, because at the end of the day, it was they're the ones that have to give the final okay. And yeah, it was a stupid fucking move, but at the same time, they're trying. Well, I mean, we all try, don't we? But I think he's just falling on the sword, because this next season is going to be, it's going to be rough, guys. I'm not going to sit here and peddle, all this good vibe shit on you. The QB situation is not this. Like I said many times, I think I probably said in every video, this is a horrible year to absolutely desperately need a quarterback. And then have no money to really spend on anybody, really. Let alone need money for the most important position on a football team. So, just, and the thing, I didn't even include it here, but there's, I can't even quote it, but they also, acknowledge that it may take a year or two. Yeah, no shit. I've been saying that. I've said that ever since it's been abundantly clear that Deshaun Watson is, it's no go. We're really fucked. And all they've done is coddle and cater to Deshaun Watson for very dumb reasons, and I don't like it. But the fact that they're acknowledging that, it's a hole that they're in, and they dug it themselves, and they know that. But again, I think a lot of this is Jimmy Haslam falling on the sword to take heat off of Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski. But it's also going to take Andrew Berry and a large part of Kevin Stefanski, because I feel like Cam Ward is not going to happen. Cam Ward's not going to happen. And I mean, again, Cam Ward might happen, but the likelihood of it happening based on comments from Andrew Berry, like, Cam Ward's going to have to fall to them. Like, I don't know. Maybe everybody's playing poker games at this point. And if I'm the Browns, I call the Titans bluff too. Like, this is a first year general manager, first time, and they're trying to. Everybody's playing games at this point. Like, all the shit that you saw within maybe the last 2 weeks, week and a half or so. I mean, my last video, I got hooked, and really, and none of it really was by any of the Browns' strategy, probably, but there is something. Like, you got Kevin Stefanski over here, and he's hanging out with Jackson Dart and working him out. Meanwhile, Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam are over in Pennsylvania at Penn State with Abdul Carter, and they've got the chessboard spread out. And I know I can already hear it because I'm doing it to myself too. But how can they be so smart, right? First of all, Deep Podesta and Andrew Barry and Kevin Stefanski trying to be smarter than everybody else. Look over here. Look over here. We're over here. He's over there. Okay. Which is a good segue, right? Okay. We're all spread out along the United States in different places. And then on a random, what is it? A random Thursday? Wednesday or Thursday? Kirk Cousins just lands in Cleveland. Just to do a food tour of Cleveland or something. He went to, nobody wanted a barbecue. He went to Chipotle first, and then he ended up at a barbecue spot later on, which nobody wanted to say, but I don't know if it's called Mabel's anymore. Maybe. I don't know. It kind of looked like it. I don't know. It's been forever. But I don't know about you guys, but if I made all the money that Kirk Cousins has made, and it's the off season, and your football home is in Atlanta, why are you in Cleveland again? And now, no, Andrew Barry, Kevin Stefanski, they're all going, well, we went there. He wasn't in Cleveland for football reasons. Which might be fact. But who's to say? Kirk Cousins can go all by himself and travel to Cleveland and just maybe he's in town to just check it out. Take a tour. Apparently that's what he was doing. Taking the tour. Just to get a sense of what Cleveland is. He can do that all by himself. Nobody has to tell him to do that. So, yes, maybe the Browns are telling the truth. They had nothing to do with it. But if you're Kirk Cousins and you want to, I don't know. I'm going to probably bet that Atlanta wants to do a deal with Cleveland. I'm sure Cleveland wants to do a deal with Atlanta. I mean, Cousins has been linked to Cleveland since the season ended. And people were pointing at, that this is what Atlanta was going to do. Now, Atlanta was supposed to release him, and that was it. But you can't blame Atlanta. They want compensation for what they're about to lose. And honestly, the way the NFL is, and, the way quarterbacks go up and down, Kirk Cousins isn't a bad, situation to have. They did bring him in. I don't think that they I mean, I think that they had, you know, Penix lined up, but I think they saw Penix as a developmental type of deal, to where Cousins was going to probably, play for a couple seasons, and then if they totally were impressed with Penix, I mean, obviously they were. They took him in the top 10, but I think they felt that it was going to take a lot longer for him to bring him along, and happy accident. And now they have the situation with Kirk Cousins. So I think the more I see and the more things that are happening around Cousins, and especially him visiting Cleveland, which is totally not Cleveland's idea, but yeah. And then which, you know, again, they're going to Darts Pro Day, and Cam Ward working out privately, and oddly enough, they're not in a very big rush to hang out with Shador, even though that's a lock. Last week, it was a lock. I've been saying that is not a lock, as much of a lock as some people want to believe. But what the fuck do I know? So, yeah, I think more of it is Haslam falling on the sword to give a little bit of heat, because I don't think that they're, especially those comments and Andrew Barry's comments. Again, it's Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, or Travis Hunter. That's it. And I think it's coming down to Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. And the more I start thinking about it, and the more I keep hearing, the pass rushers are deep in this draft. So Abdul Carter's not. I mean, to me, to me he's my pick. That's who I go with. But the Travis Hunter argument, I'm not going to argue against it. I think Travis Hunter is, he won the Heisman for a reason. He's a very rare player. He's a good kid, and I think for a lot of reasons he makes sense with the Browns. The Browns could use him on offense and play him on defense, because God knows they still need help. Whether it's whether he's playing part-time on either side of the ball. He can come in and give Denzel Ward longer breaks, and that might help temper like his injuries or his concussions, really, and maybe help his longevity as far as being able to last through a whole game. Because how many times down the back stretch of last season, and yeah, everybody gets hurt in a terrible season. But Denzel has not been able to finish a lot of games. Either because he got nicked up or a concussion or some other injury, a knee, groin, anything. So maybe he's just a. Do you really want to take a utility player at number 2? No. But, you could use him in a lot of places. And those type of players are very rare. Very rare. So, I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not going to argue against it. It's not my pick, but he is the reigning Heisman. He's a very unique player. He's a football player through and through. He's there to be a main player wherever he goes. So, I mean, I'm not going to complain about having a guy like that on the Browns. But the more you hear stuff, especially stuff from out of Jimmy Haslam like that and Andrew Berry, and I'll take you back to the Combine. As I've said before, they spent a lot of time at the Combine glowingly talk about Travis Hunter. And not like deliberately, like, they could ask the question and then they just, like, they could go on and on about it. So, I think, yeah. I think this really has shown they're not tipping their hand, but at least as far as it's concerned with Shedeur Sanders, that might be tipped off. And I think that's deliberate. I just, I don't think there's, much more to add to that. I think more so, it, like I said, it takes heat. Well, more heat off of Stefanski than it does Andrew Berry, because Andrew Berry still needs, regardless, the draft of his career. I think if anything, this next draft is key to Andrew Berry's career as far as in Cleveland. And I don't think if he doesn't get it right, and I'm not talking just the quarterback, I'm talking the next running back, the other tight end, receivers, linebackers, other edge players to play on the other side of Miles. You still need to add. You have foundation blocks. You have Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward and Joe Bitonio. I'll even say Jerry Jeudy to a certain extent. But you still need to continue to build both sides of the ball, really. I mean, guys, fixing the quarterback problem isn't going to heal everything. Like you don't have to have a major star running back. You don't need a Saquon Barkley. You I mean, it'd still be kind of great, but I don't think I think they're just gonna eat this next season, and not in a good way. Not like eat. No, let me eat, but but like this next season, it's about getting all the other pieces before we solidify the quarterback, right? That for me, that is what I think should happen in this next draft. To be honest, so there's there, there's your once again we're talking about the Browns. Uh, as I mentioned earlier, let's move on. We'll cut into the Gardos. Yeah, we talked about silly season. Before the Haslam stuff, I had talking about the Cousins Cleveland tour. Wonder if he went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Apparently not, because people would ask for his pick, I guess. But uh, uh, what was the others? Just the other rumors. The stuff that I've already ranted about. The Shadur Sanders being a lock. Now we're having super secret private workouts with Cam Ward and all that. It's silly. This whole thing. This has been. I won't even say it's been wild. It's been just head shaking, stupid in my opinion. Like, boy, it has really reached its max, and I don't know if it's because for the first time, really, I'm paying attention to it more just because I feel like I have to. But man, it it just got stupid within the last week, and I'm sure it's even gonna get worse. Like coming up to draft time, and yeah, I've I'm not even getting into the mock draft stuff yet. We'll do that as we get closer, because it makes no sense to do it now. Like, I don't know. Jalen Milrow, everybody, prepare for it. That's just I'm not I don't I'm not going off of any insider info or whatever. It's just my gut feeling. First thing that comes to mind, who who are the who do you think the Browns are going to draft at quarterback? I immediately, for whatever reason, intuition, stupidity maybe, I just immediately think Jalen Milrow. I don't know why. I'm not on the bandwagon for it. Like, my QB pick is Quinn Ewers. So, and nobody, I've only heard like one person bring up Quinn Ewers. So, I don't know. But everything I read and the sense of that my own personal take is Jalen Milroe. Because Tommy Reese and that connection and, uh, you know, and he's a guy that I could see Andrew Barry and even Stefanski getting behind to develop. Is he going to start next year? No. But he's going to be a guy that they bring in, sit out a year. Meanwhile, Kenny Pickett and or Kirk Cousins comes in for this year, maybe next year, depends. And then who's to say they don't draft another quarterback with probably a top 5 pick next year? Just brace yourselves, guys. Just brace yourselves. And I know I've said that feel free to go back. I know my one live stream is total shit. Total shit. But the roster breakdown, the last video I did, yeah, just this is your friendly neighborhood Browns fan just trying to warn people. You know, brace yourselves. It's going to be rough next season. Are we going to go 0-17? No. But it's going to be a lot like this year. No quarterback. And a bunch of rookies trying to feel their way. The good news is, guys, we actually have really good veterans on the team to help the young guys instead of being a totally young team that doesn't have the veterans to teach them the right way. See, there you go. There's your positive. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about the Guardians. Well, let's talk about March mundaneness before I talk about the Guardians. Before I get there. Your Final Four consists of Duke and Houston, and Florida and Auburn. Breaking news for all of you people that were wondering. But I've not been a fan of many of the games. You can count on one hand how many really good games there have been in this tournament. And I'm just not impressed. I'm not there, guys. I mean, I could give a flying two shits about who wins. It's going to be Duke, I think. But what I think has not entirely happened in this tournament. So it's all chalk. All number 1 seeds for the second time ever. I'm not going to spend a lot of time about it, but it makes me sad, really, because I really feel like, I don't know if you can chalk it up to NIL or just how things are with basketball anymore. But I really feel like the Cinderella underdog days are... It's going to take some time. Because it's all about the I wouldn't even see like the blue bloods, like Carolina, Duke, Kansas. I mean, yeah, UConn, but I mean, and to a sense, to a certain point, it is, but like it has more to do with who is your head coach and fundraising and NIL and I mean, look at Calipari. He went from Kentucky to Arkansas, and then his first year they're beating St. John, Patino and St. John's. Another case in point. Now, I don't know. I don't know about all the NIL. I'm happy players are getting paid because I've always felt it's a crock of shit that these kids get exploited to go to these programs, and colleges and teams make billions off their backs and they get nothing. Now, yeah, sure, yeah, they get nothing, but behind the scenes from boosters or whatever. To me, this just you don't have to go about it in a dirty way anymore. Everything's all up front. Kids can get paid, millions. And sure, like, oh yeah, let's give, 18, 19-year-olds millions of dollars and all that. But look, they were going to benefit one way or the other. And it only hurts them because, they accept gifts from outside boosters and then they get kicked out. Like how the fuck do you expect to feel like that's okay as long it's wrong for the kids to look out for themselves or have go through all these back back alley dealings in order to here kid, here's a envelope full of $100 bills or all this shit, instead of making it right for if I go play at Ohio State, but I've got to toe the line because some fucking millionaire wants to hand me a free car, and I'm supposed to fucking feel bad about that as a college kid, as an 18, 19, 20-year-old. Get out of here, man. At least all this stuff is up front and on the level. And, it hurts. It hurts small schools. Yeah, it does. But it's not going to stop the monster programs from outdoing the little guy. What made the tournament so cool, to get back on track, what made the tournament so cool was the guys that fell through the cracks and ended up at these smaller schools. And then building a team like in the like for some of these smaller schools, if they have like if they had a roster full of seniors or juniors and seniors, and let's say they've won a couple of their conference championships and they get into the tournament, they're a threat. Now, no, you gotta have talent. top tier talent. And I was hoping, like, okay, the smaller schools, cool. Okay, you take your lumps. Like, you didn't need a 64 team tournament this year. Sorry. You just didn't. You just didn't. And I was hoping as you got into the Sweet 16, the Elite 8, and the Final 4, these games would start getting better because the competition was going to get better. Not really. I mean, a lot of the first halves for the Elite 8 were pretty good, and for the most part, just like what was it? Florida and Texas Tech. You know, they had Florida the whole game up until the last 2 minutes. That's it. And then Florida's talent just kicked in. And then Duke, it wasn't even a game. Houston, who they play, doesn't matter. That was a fucking sloppy game. It was choppy. The referees didn't help. Don't get me started on the officiating and media timeouts and stop and start and stop and start and stop and start. God damn. I tell you, in a 15-minute segment, TV segment, there's probably maybe 4 fucking minutes of fucking play. And the rest of it's fucking commercial. There's your rant for the evening. Yeah, let's just move on. I'm not happy about March Madness, and it has nothing to do with my bracket, which was awful, but you know, I have fun with my bracket, but like it has nothing to even do with it. Like that isn't even it. It was so bad I didn't even care about my bracket. Get off my lawn. Goddamn kids anyway. All right, now we can talk about the guards. It's a little too late now. When I did this, it was after the weekend. The Guardians were 2-1, and Kyle Manzardo was the man. Zardo, the legend. He had the 2 of the 3 games, I think he had home runs. And all my notes are just complete shit at this point, but yeah, he felt like he was the only one, and Stephen Kwan too, but yeah, now they sit at 2-3. They've got their ass kicked by the Padres the last 2 nights. It's still too early, guys. I try. You know, the thing about baseball season starting is warm, happy thoughts, right? I'm trying to break down Guardians games, 5 games into 162 games. So, you know, they are what they are. They always are. And there is no in between, except for like right now, the Guardians either start off bad or start off hot. So, Jose had a home run last night. He Everybody kind of shit the bed tonight. Really shit the bed. Actually, the last 3 games. The last 3 games, everybody. The last game, well, no, my bad. Last 2 games. Last 2 games against the Padres, they've been beaten 14-2. And I'm not getting into all the stats. Sorry. Yeah, there is your Guardians Spotlight for the day, evening, whenever you're watching. Yeah. Speaking, let's get back to basketball. Boy, I did a horrible job of formatting this, didn't I? Thought I had it segued, but whatever. The Cavs. Are they ready? Are they ready? Are they ready for the playoffs? 3 weeks ago, I would say yes. They had the right mindset, all that. Then the West Coast trip happened, and I'm not so sure. And I don't know what it is, but from these eyes and these other eyes, I think they're trying too hard to coast. I think they really want to coast into the playoffs. And I think they got a little too sure of themselves. I won't even say cocky. I won't say that. But, Mobley's sitting one game, Mitchell's sitting in another, Garland's out for another game for reasons, rest. I understand that, but with less than 10 games to go, they need to lock in. For a team that has proven that they can crumble in the playoffs, they need to go into the playoffs with the right mindset and not, we're the number 1 seed, we got nothing to worry about, whatever. Because I think they're going to end up playing the Pistons. And, by all that I could tell, they went into Detroit and they got their ass beat without the Pistons' key players. Can't have that, guys. I'm sorry. You can have slip ups here and there. That happens. That's basketball. But you need to be locked in. This is the time where you get locked in. They are not. They're waiting for the playoffs to happen. They're just trying. They're trying to take a nap, wake me up when we get to the playoffs, and that's not a good thing, especially for the Cavs team. They haven't done shit to earn that. How do I say? And not respect, but they haven't done shit to give themselves to afford to do that for themselves. They really need to get into the playoff mindset right now. And that starts Wednesday. That starts tomorrow against the Knicks on ESPN at home. That needs to be the first playoff game for them mentally. That'll tell a lot. Do they answer the bell? We shall see. And I'll be here to tell you whether they shit the bed and we should be worried going into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see. Glad I'll be able to watch. So, yeah. We'll just see how it all plays out. But, you know, they go to Detroit, have that happen, and then they hold off the Clippers to win 60. So, the last game, Allen had 25 points, 12 boards. Mitchell, 24 points, 12 boards, 7 assists. He almost had a triple-double. Messed around and had a triple-double. It was a good day. Mobley, 22 points, 7 boards, 4 assists. Garland, 19 points, 7 assists. So, that's getting there. But now they've had a couple days off. This is kind of like, for me, they should reset the clock. And this is when, all right, let's go. So, yeah. Are they ready? We'll see. The next game, that'll be a tell. That'll tell you what you need to know. Now, main event, and we're gonna do this Raw review. We're gonna talk a little wrestling, but I held it all back just so everybody can get their sports in. And now we're gonna talk some wrestling, because it's about high time to start getting on to the road to WrestleMania. Like, for real. We've been hanging out off the highway and cruising along the highway, along the side roads. Now it's time to get on. And this week's Raw kicked off. And boy, it was a good Raw. I'm not going to say it was all-time great, but the Cena Cody episode segment to start Raw, woo boy. This is what should have happened after the Rumble. To me, absolutely, it's the first Raw. This is what should have happened. And I felt it was epic. Epic. Other than, I'm just going to leave this just my own issue. I've seen other people talk about it, but the Cena Rock connection and what the fuck is going on between those two needs to start getting put together. It has not. Nobody has talked about it, mentioned it on television. Cody alluded to it. Like, his part was like, what is this, dude? Like, you have yet to say, the real reason that you want this match. You want the championship and all that. And he's the one that first brought up The Rock. And like, what's your deal? But Cena didn't even address that too. But I wouldn't say Cena buried Cody, because Cody held his own, and it was the main event of WrestleMania promo shootout that you expect, like, in the week to week to week to week build to WrestleMania. And the last 2 weeks has been nothing but John Cena going, "You people, lazy ass heat. Sorry." So this was good. Did it mend all the fences? No. There's still holes. But this was good. You know, Cody, I'm not going to go into the play-by-play, but I really want to get into this promo first. Like, Cena comes out, and he's ready to talk, probably more about you people. And Cody comes out before Cena even talks. And then he tries to cut Cena off about what he's going to say, and neck tattoo and fliss. You know, let me say it before you do type of thing. And, you know, the line about Cena, you know, Cody's talking about burying other guys and things, and, you know, Cena comes out and says he doesn't bury talent. He is talent. He buries mediocrity. Which is not wrong. He's just doing what, you know, he's just doing what he's told. Back then, he's Vince's boy. Which comes up. But not before, you know, calling Cody a sociopathic Nepo baby. And talking about the tattoo on his neck, arm tattoo on his neck. You know, he doesn't even need to get into it. You know, he just calls it out as, you know, Cody's the same as any of the other fans. You know, he's just a mark for those that have tuned in for the sports section and has kept it here. A mark is a wrestling term for super fan. Smark is a smart mark, or a smart fan. I don't these aren't my terms. These are just things that are in this sphere. You know, and, you know, they talk about, well, Cody's the one that talked about early in his career traveling with Cena, and Cena, you know, basically calls him his errand boy that got lucky because they were in the same car. You know, and then Cody brings up The Rock, and, you know, he alludes to the, you know, aligning himself with The Rock, and then basically or Cody basically just saying he's the one that, out of the two of them, he's the one that sold out. You know, not in these notes I have. Cena runs Cody down, calling him, you know, generic, too polished. Like, I mean, kettle calling the pot black, but it was so good from Cena, and I'm probably not even doing it justice, but I dug it. It was hints at old Thugonomics Cena without him rapping the thing, but the dude is awesome on the mic. It's what made him cool. Here's another shoot. He was shooting straight while being a good promo. Calling him very too polished, wearing the suit, and you're not authentic. All that shit. That was great. And Cody, like I said, Cody held his own. Nobody's keeping score of who wins these promos, but some people are saying Cody did, Cena did. I'd probably lean Cena than Cody, but it wasn't like a normal thing where the heel runs down the babyface and it makes the babyface look worse. No, it was Cena giving it, Cody giving it back. It was very good. It was very good. Cody talked about, he's the reason why there were disenfranchised fans, and that allowed for another company to start. It was because of John Cena, and he's not wrong there. I'm one of them. Like, I became a disenfranchised fan. Cena took off to be, another Hogan type of situation where, that's great for kids. I'll just go watch something else or do something else. But yeah, I'm one of them. And then I was a big fan of Cody's when I heard all these scuttlebutts about, especially the first All In. I didn't get it, but it's impressive for wrestlers in their prime to be able to have. I mean, I firmly believe Cody had the connections. Especially, he's Cody Rhodes. He's the Dusty Rhodes' son. Not only that, but Cody genuinely knows. He has a knack for both sides as a wrestler and a guy behind the scenes. I firmly believe, and this is obviously too long for it, but I plan on doing a state of AEW and where they went wrong, and letting Cody Rhodes go to WWE because Tony Khan wanted all the control. You can't convince me any otherwise. And Cody did so much, especially as far as TV production side of things, understanding how all that works, wrestling traditions, booking, smart booking, and storytelling. I think I think uh I think Tony Khan didn't give Cody Rhodes enough credit. And I think, at some point I had a fear that at some point things like that were going to happen behind the scenes. And Cody again, Cody knows how the wrestling business works, and he's the prime example of fuck around and find out. On the positive end, not Tony Khan learned fuck around and find out. But I think I'm gonna do a separate video for that. I've been trying to get there, but never do. It's the story of my life. Anyway, it was a great segment. I loved it. It was super. This is where we should have been a few weeks ago. That's my only pet peeve. But, in previous years, we've already had WrestleMania. So maybe they're playing the real slow game. Other things that happened on Raw: New Day defeated the New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Big strong boy. Tyler Bate made his not debut, but he came back. Jimmy Uso got yeeted by Gunther, and that became a big bloody mess. And that's exactly what Jimmy and Gunther should have been, and it helps Jay Uso and Gunther for WrestleMania, and it's much needed. I'll leave it at that. I gotta take a break. Be right back. Nature calls. Where was I? Yes. Jimmy gets all bloody. Gunther looked like he took a bath in blood. Jimmy Uso's blood. And solid. It's definitely what that match needed. Definitely heat for that match. And again, another thing that should have happened weeks ago. Especially, I don't know. Should have been better planned, but it kind of felt like one of those things that in a production meeting or something, everybody goes, how do we get more heat for this match? And somebody just thought of, what happens if we get Jimmy Uso to get beaten to a bloody carcass or something. What a great idea. Oops. Yeah. Again, feels like it took forever to get there, but we're finally there. Speaking of taking along to get there, even though we know what's coming, we have the Can They Coexist tag team match, including Balor and Dominic against Penta and Braun Breaker Steiner. Penta and Breaker lose because Braun accidentally spears Penta. He didn't mean to do it, but he also didn't feel bad about it neither. And then Balor and Dominic, they still tease friction and they're gonna break up and nobody fucking cares. Just say it's gonna be like a ladder match, or Penta, Breaker, Balor, Dom, and somebody else, Ludwig Kaiser, who last episode I couldn't even think of who it was, but yeah, him, and maybe some other guy, Carlito, perhaps, in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title, which Breaker is gonna win. Maybe. Might be Penta. They're into giving the new guys belts. I guess formerly Ricky Starks, now Ricky Saints in NXT, won the North American Championship tonight. Cool. Good for him. He'd be better suited on the main roster, but whatever. Then AJ Styles and Logan Paul, which it did occur to me. I have it in the notes because I was barely paying attention. But for whatever reason, it hit me. Logan Paul looks like a generic version of Diamond Dallas Page, like from a long time ago, when he had like the frizzy mullet thing going. Kind of like what Logan Paul is now. Tell me if I'm spot on. Somebody in the near future that sees this, please tell me. I'm pretty good with these things about this guy looks like this. This guy, girl looks like this. I'm pretty good with that stuff. Like in a very fun comedic way too. Now I just need Logan Paul to keep saying, "Good God." Bang. I'm just amusing myself. Okay. Oh, and mostly the crowd chanted at Logan Paul to shut the fuck up. Oh, but my favorite was Prime is shit. Yeah. So I don't have it written down, but I forget who they kept calling a wanker. A wanka. That was also one of my favorite chants that I forget at somebody. Maybe it was Logan Paul. He is a wanker. But I personally like the Prime is shit chant. Lyra Valkyria, Bird Girl, she had a backstage segment which I zoned out. I did. I just kind of hit like a blank spot at this point. I'm sorry. It's not her fault. It really isn't. I feel bad for her, honestly, because she's a very good wrestler. It's just they've given this girl zero direction as far as a character. And yeah. I feel bad. I really do. I did catch up. I did, zip back in at the end when she said that she's facing Bailey next week for the Intercontinental title. I think it's for the Intercontinental title. But maybe Bailey wins it just to save the WrestleMania match. Because guess what? That's probably going to be another multi-person match. Multi-person mania. Yeah. You'd think that they wouldn't need all these multiple people, multi-women, multi-man matches, given that they are now doing 2 full nights of WrestleMania, and they still can't fucking fit people in. Like, there's a problem, and it's not just in WWE, but AEW. Well, there's a lot of problems with AEW, but there's a thing with storylines anymore. They have to have title matches. It's, again, lazy booking, lazy writing, lazy storytelling. Because you can't just have, like even look at Jade Cargill and Naomi. That's a good example of you don't need a title belt in order to tell at least a story. Whether it's good or not is up to you, but at least they're telling this side story. You can't really say that with a lot of other things going on right now. They're even fucking up CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. To me, it just should be CM Punk and Rollins. But then they've blown it off twice now. So they add Roman just because they're not. Now that still has to play out, and yeah, that is another story, major main story, top of the card. It's gonna main event probably night 1, and that's still to play out. My theory, here's my fan booking on that, especially after Punk on SmackDown at the contract signing. He, acknowledged the tribal chief and also said, the main event of WrestleMania was not the favor that's owed to him. My theory is, because he alluded to it on Raw, that he wanted to see this contract to make sure to see what was in it. And my theory is Paul Heyman is going to get him somehow involved into Cody and Cena. Now, it hit me, and I don't want this to happen. Okay? I don't want this to happen. But if anybody is old enough to remember WrestleMania 9, the last time WrestleMania was in Las Vegas, also one of the worst WrestleManias ever. Regardless, you also still remember, okay, WrestleMania 9. The main event was Bret the Hitman Hart versus Yokozuna. It's for the World Heavyweight Championship. Winged Eagle. Yokozuna, who is not Japanese or whatever. He is Samoan. He is cousin of Roman Reigns or uncle. One or the other. He's part of the Anoa'i family. By the way, just a fun fact. Keep that in the back of your mind, though. Also, it doesn't fit in with what I have about to say. But WrestleMania 9. Bret Hart, Yokozuna, Heavyweight Championship. Bret Hart goes to win the match with the sharpshooter. Mr. Fuji, rest in peace, underrated, one of the greatest managers of all time. Don't at me. Throws the salt into the eyes of Bret Hart, falls back, gets pinned. Yokozuna, world champion. In the midst of all this, things linger. Yokozuna's out there running Mr. Fuji's running his mouth for him. For no reason. Then all of a sudden, Hulk Hogan appears at ringside to coddle or, talk to Bret Hart. Now, Hulk Hogan, like full on fucked up, busted eye ball. Anybody remembers? And then he had an altercation at a gym or whatever the story was. Either way, Mr. Fuji says something to Hogan, and like he's ready to take on. He's ready to beat Hulk Hogan right here, right now, or something like I don't remember why. It was terrible. All of a sudden, you get Hulk Hogan versus Yokozuna, and a match is happening, and big boot and leg drop later, and now Hulk Hogan walks out of WrestleMania world champion, even though that was his last, like few short months later, he went to he left WWE for sure, but then he would be in WCW by the end of that year. Yeah. But anyway, my theory is they're going to do the same thing, except, and if anybody's been paying attention to CM Punk's storylines, he has been doing a lot of the Bret Hart storylines. Like the Hell in the Cell. The Hell in the Cell was Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. And they took a page out of that. But a lot of the stuff has been like rehashed Bret Hart storylines and things. Because Punk is a big Bret Hart fan. So, and they did the SummerSlam match in the same template as, you know, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker type story, I guess, to put it in some sense. But anyway, somehow, some way, the favor that is owed to CM Punk is this match, this championship match. So let's just say you have John Cena as the Yokozuna. Cody Rhodes is the Bret Hart of this scenario. And CM Punk is Hulk Hogan in this certain scenario. Even though you would say, well, why isn't Cena? Just follow with me here. So the champion, Cody Rhodes, gets beat by the heel, John Cena, to win 17 at WrestleMania. Technically. To win 17. And out comes CM Punk. Because if you remember, CM Punk told Cody Rhodes that he's telling him as a friend that he is going to stab him in his chest, not his back. He's going to stab him in the front, not the back. That gets lost, but that is the type of stuff that Triple H likes to do. He doesn't leave these major things out there in the ring just because CM Punk said it. I could see them circling back to that point and then following the same template from WrestleMania 9. Just saying. It, in a lot of ways, it makes sense. So CM Punk wins night 1. And then, lo and behold, the favor is he gets to face the winner of Cena and Cody. With Cena still being able to win number 17, but then also dropping it to CM Punk. And then you have another summer of Punk. Now it could go any other way, really. But it hit me one night. People were talking about WrestleMania 9, or I think it was more so it got brought up like how Punk has been using the Bret Hart templates. Where's WrestleMania? Las Vegas. When was the last time they were in Las Vegas? WrestleMania 9. What happened at the end of that night? Just what I told you. Just keep it in the back of your minds for the very few people that probably will watch this. But, you know, I've only been watching wrestling for a little while. So, I enjoy good storytelling. That would probably be a pretty good way to do it. A better way to do it than the way they did it back at WrestleMania 9. But yeah. So yeah, I got off. I got off track. Yep. I'm just in one of those moods. So yeah, we're almost at 2 hours. Oh, humor me, guys. Just humor me. I'm just here. As always. Yeah. Lyra Valkyria and Bailey next week. Get excited. Or not. They're back in the States now, so we're done with the afternoon Raws, which is kind of a bummer for me. I dug it. I enjoyed not being up real late, even though I'm up real late right now. But those are two totally separate things. So then the main event of Raw was Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky, with Bianca Belair as a special referee. Why we're doing this? I don't know why they just don't say it's going to be a triple threat. I don't. I really don't. We all know it's coming. I'd rather see Ripley versus Bianca. Let Io Sky tear it up with a, Intercontinental Championship. Put her in that IC title ladder match. Whatever. Anyway, this was a super clunky, not the best match that Ripley and Io have ever done. It's disappointing. And I saw it earlier tonight, and somebody mentioned, Ripley, something seems off with Rhea Ripley. She just, it's not, I don't think she's injured, but she doesn't look there, I don't know why. Unless her dropping the title has thrown her off, and I don't know. It just, things don't, everything's just kind of clunky with this situation, and I don't know. This situation is clunky enough, but even straight storytelling here, but realistically, Rhea Ripley, I don't know. I don't know if it's, I don't want to say like the Paige thing, which I'll get there. I'll get to her, and it might be a good segue, actually. But something just seems off with her, personally. I don't know. I don't even know her. I don't even know. Just a mental, not like something's mentally wrong with her, but something's bothering her, and it's kind of taking her out of her. She used to be very locked in. I keep saying locked in, but I don't know if it's a thing like she's like she's heads and above. She's so far ahead of all the other women in the division. Like, I mean, it's not close. I don't know if she's feeling the pressure of carrying it, and maybe that's kind of inflated her ego. I mean, she is very young still. I don't think that gets said enough because she's so damn good. But like, I think that's what happened with Paige or Saraya, however you want to know her. Paige was just so young, and she got fed all the success, and I mean, she carried it because it was basically her and Tennille Dashwood, then known as Emma. I mean, her and Emma in NXT for the very first NXT Women's Championship. That's good wrestling. If you haven't seen it or aren't familiar with it, go find it, man. Those are really good matches. Really good. Ground-based technical wrestling from women were fucking unheard of then. And they really they were good, really good. And then, Paige gets called to the main roster and immediately beats AJ Lee. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my speculation. I'm not saying things as fact. Just something. Rhea Ripley doesn't seem like Rhea Ripley, and I'm not trying to say that for storyline purposes or like a heel turn. Maybe. I mean, maybe the story is she's kind of getting arrogant. And that's why she keeps losing. Maybe. Who knows? Maybe it's done on purpose. I mean, I kind of hope so, but at the same time, it's not helping. It's not helping. So that was Raw. I thought it was really good. The end wasn't, it's okay. Let's talk some more wrestling. Speaking of Paige Saraya, she's gone from AEW. Mutual. No, let's go on a podcast and bash the place I just left type of thing. Contract was just up, and Tony Khan doesn't need anybody like her there. He's doing just fine with Mercedes Moné and all of her mid-card titles and the women's world champion Toni Storm. Yeah, that division doesn't need any, leadership. Which takes me to Gail Kim. Anybody remembers Gail Kim? Even from WWE? Probably not. You probably mostly know her from TNA. She did a lot for the women, especially the women's division in TNA, but she did a lot backstage. She's a hell of a wrestling mind, and I have no idea what TNA is doing. They're probably just getting ready to beat people, and uh, I think something's kind of in the works, especially with them working with NXT. That like it might be a formality for Gail Kim to, be fired from TNA, but then she's going to end up working in NXT or the PC. And I think TNA is going to be moving away from, they're just going to have booking and rely on like Nick Nemeth and the veterans that they have, and they're just going to be basically probably a feeder system to WWE. That's my thought. I just think that's what that is. She goes to AEW. Yeah, AEW could absolutely use her backstage, but then, Tony Khan, he doesn't like to let other people play with his toys. As Cena appropriately told Cody Rhodes to go back to that opening segment, because I failed to mention that there was a TK reference, when a TK reference and a Vince McMahon reference all in the same breath. When Cena told Rhodes, I make empires for billionaires. All you do is steal money from their kids. So yeah, AEW could absolutely use Gail Kim. If I was Tony Khan, I would absolutely be doing that, and I hand her the keys to developing the women in not just AEW, but Ring of Honor. And not just as a TV character, like for real. For real. Yeah. Ray Phoenix actually, was shown to be debuting on SmackDown. That's cool. I think it's probably a good idea to keep, even if it's just for, pre WrestleMania things, for just a little bit, just to introduce Ray Phoenix. Probably to keep him separate from Penta. And then when they come together, it might feel like a bigger deal. What I don't understand is Aleister Black being on SmackDown. I think he would make more sense on Raw. Just because I think Raw needs more of that. I think he fits better on Raw for that. But again, this all might be just slotting like SmackDown. If they, I don't know how long they're gonna stay on 3 hours, but I guess you're gonna need to fill more time with all that. So it's probably for those reasons. So we'll see. But I think it's cool. They're coming back in. Malachi Black in AEW should have been a world champion. He should have been in the mix. And I mean, I could say the same thing for Miro and Claudio Castagnoli and you name it. Jay White, Will Ospreay. Again, I'm gonna definitely do an AEW state of AEW type thing. Way too much talent in that company that, you know, there should be teams of people organizing this and not just Tony Khan playing with toys. And that's what it looks like. And yeah, here's a little teaser. This is my opinion. My opinion. When AEW first started, the only thing that I was really afraid of, because you had more indie guys involved than anything, and a lot of people that didn't know what they were doing as far as a fully functioning professional wrestling company with a episodic TV show weekly. You didn't have many people that knew how that works. And now they have zero people, really. And if they do, the guy in charge that thinks he knows how to run all of it doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. And he should really hire people that do. Or hire people that know how to do it. That's what bosses do. Again, I'll get into that on a later video. Right now it's way too late. I'll just say this as a little precursor to what I have to say. My opinion is AEW has devolved. And this was my main concern when it started. And it didn't start that way. But it has slid down to this. It is a fucking indie show with television production. Period. If you want me to sound like an old man, how about an indie outlaw mud show with TV production? I've seen cooler shit on syndicated cable than what the fuck is going on TNT or TBS or wherever the fuck they bounce it to. And I've seen a lot cooler shit on TNT and TBS as far as wrestling's concerned on television. I had very high hopes for AEW, but I also had very high concerns that were they able to learn from the lessons from not just WCW, but also failed attempts like TNA. There's plenty of guys in AEW that knew what worked and what didn't in TNA right now. I think I think people are expressing those things. It's just there's a certain guy at the top of the food chain in that company that doesn't listen. And if he does, he only listens to a certain amount of people. I won't even say certain amount of people, because that even makes it seem like a few. A very, very limited amount of people. How about that? That's where I'll leave it, because it's way too late and I went way too long. But if you happen to watch this video, I very, very much appreciate it. I don't have a set schedule. And as I've said in previous, I'm trying to get there, but like there's certain things that go on through my day that makes it impossible to record at one set time and to get out a video at certain points every day. So I've seen my roster breakdown. I think it was my second or third video that I've done. People are watching, and I appreciate it very much. I really do. Whether you like it or you don't, not a lot of people have been hitting the like button, but you've been watching. And at this point, that's all I can ask for. I appreciate it, like very much so. And I don't even know what to say other than, if you do watch, please subscribe. I'm not going anywhere. It just might take a lot. I shouldn't say a lot longer, but some time to get really into this rolling mode. I'm hoping to do it more consistently, but life calls sometimes, and it's been pretty helter-skelter for about the last 2 years. I won't get deep into it, but people, you don't have to get into it for people to understand. So again, I appreciate people watching. I don't care if it's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got a bunch. Again, last look was like 31 views, and that's so fucking cool to me. It's not great, and probably not even where I want to be, but like that just gives me motivation to keep going. And I'm working to get better. I'm working to really do this. I gotta shave more. I know. I look like fucking Papa Smurf. But, that's just how I roll sometimes. I don't feel like shaving a lot of days. But yeah, I see it. I see ya. I don't know who you guys are, but it'd be nice for a comment or so. But that's cool. Again, I very much appreciate you. Even if this is getting to you in the future, I still appreciate it very much. Like, very, very much. I'm very humbled because I'm very much I've been a YouTube watcher for many of the people that I subscribe to, and people that I don't. I just, I'll find a video game playlist for certain people and binge watch it. And I very much appreciate doing that. And just even for 30 people to watch one of my videos is fucking cool. Fucking cool. But yeah, just somebody, just the fact that you decided to pop in and listen to what I have to say. For one person to do it is awesome enough. So, again, I appreciate you. Follow me. Follow Believelandia on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, sure. Subscribe here. This is where all the, this is the hub. I'm not gonna. I don't have the capacity. I barely have the capacity to do a live stream. So to do it on multiple platforms at the same time is way too much horsepower than what I have. As far as the computer's concerned. So yeah, like and subscribe. Follow Believelandia on all those platforms I just said. Believelandia.com. I have some stuff posted to read if you like to read. It's not like a book or anything, but before I started getting the videos going, I did my own little website and have a little blogosphere type thing going. I plan on putting the videos on there as well. So, Believelandia.com. If you are cruising, do we cruise the net anymore? Surf it? Probably not. People don't. People probably don't even know what the fuck that I'm even fuck talking about there. Yeah. So it's way late. That's gonna do it for me, guys. Again really appreciate you. I don't know when I'll be back. Always the goal is for tomorrow or the next day. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it does. Again, the wind has to blow the right way. So, until the next one, you guys have a good day. Whenever you see this, have yourselves a good day, a good evening. Feel like the Truman Show. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. In case I don't see you. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Peace, guys.
Losing time, I'm fading fast. I just wanna make it last. Try to let go of the past. I close my eyes, embrace the blast. Sleepless nights and headaches stack. Restlessness to hell and back. What's my purpose? What do I grab? A slippery surface, a heart attack. And sometimes you just gotta believe. There's something that'll give you relief. There's something that'll have what you need. What you need. We're broken, it's tragic. We're not all elastic, but maybe there's magic. Believe you could have it. And I know of sadness, the anxious and panic, the infinite vastness of all that